Welcome to MysticlibraryX, where historical mysteries are unearthed and decoded. Do you believe that a curse from thousands of years ago could still haunt humanity to this day? Let's explore the story of the curse of Pharaoh Tutankhamun, one of the most chilling mysteries in human history. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other fascinating videos. MysticlibraryX will take you on a journey to uncover untold secrets. King Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut, was one of the most famous pharaohs of ancient Egypt. He ascended the throne at just 9 years old and passed away at the age of 19. But few people know that his tomb had been forgotten for over 3,000 years until it was discovered in 1922 by archaeologist Howard Carter. Did you know that Tutankhamun's resting place astonished archaeologists from the moment they first uncovered it? While most tombs in the Valley of the Kings were severely damaged, the tomb where Tutankhamun was buried remained almost entirely intact. After thousands of years and more, the mysterious deaths of 22 archaeologists during the excavation of the tomb began to send chills down people's spines. Was it the deadly curse meant for anyone who dared disturb the king? The deadly curse, or perhaps other hidden traps, created a unique sense of curiosity surrounding this place. Born around 1341 BCE in Akhenaten, now modern-day Tel El Amarna, Tutankhamun was initially named Tutankhamun, which means the living image of Aten, the most revered god at the end of Pharaoh Akhenaten's reign from 1353 to 1335 BCE. King Tutankhamun was the son of Akhenaten and his secondary wife, Kia. When Tutankhamun was young, he was educated within the royal palace. By that time, the empire had lost control over the northern territories, now modern-day Syria. Around 5 to 6 years before Tutankhamun's birth, Akhenaten moved the capital to Amarna, both to isolate from the plague ravaging Egypt's crowded cities and to shift the religious system from worshipping the god Ammonius to a monotheistic religion centered around Aten, the sun god. Akhenaten also closed many temples dedicated to other gods, and his soldiers spread stories defaming Ammonius and other deities, destroying statues, which horrified the populace. A bicentennial celebration was held with hopes of bringing peace to the world and granting eternal life in the afterlife. However, this new religion was only enforced in Amarna, while in Memphis, people continued to worship their old gods. Many strange occurrences surrounded Tutankhamun even during his lifetime. First, the king's health and appearance were highly unusual. Tutankhamun had a slender build, standing about 180 centimeters tall, with large front teeth. From September 2007 to October 2009, various mummies became subjects of entomological, X-ray, and genetic studies as part of the King Tutankhamun family project. The research revealed that Tutankhamun likely suffered from a cleft palate and possibly mild scoliosis. Physical examinations of Tutankhamun's body also uncovered a previously unknown deformity in his left leg caused by osteonecrosis, which forced him to use a walking cane. Numerous canes were found in his tomb. However, these conditions were not life-threatening. During the DNA analysis of Tutankhamun's mummy, scientists discovered the presence of a tropical malaria parasite, marking the oldest genetic evidence of the disease. Interestingly, multiple strains of the malaria virus were found, indicating that Tutankhamun suffered from repeated malaria infections throughout his life. Malaria weakened the king's immune system, complicating his recovery process. Combined with a fractured left femur, as discovered by scientists in 2005, these factors likely contributed to the young king's death. But what caused the symbol of strength in ancient Egyptian civilization to be so physically frail? Was it due to his own condition or another factor? The answer is simple: it was because he was born from an incestuous marriage. Scientists confirmed that the king, considered the embodiment of the god Ammonius, had a deformed body as a result of inbreeding. By combining 3D imaging with genetic analysis of the family's DNA, researchers showed that Tutankhamun's father was Akhenaten, and his mother was Akhenaten's biological sister. Despite numerous hypotheses and research findings published, there remains no conclusive explanation for the premature death of King Tutankhamun. So, what truly caused the tragic demise of this young king? Was it illness, or is there another hidden truth behind it? there are no records documenting the exact date of King Tutankhamun's death beyond his health issues. Scientists believe he was assassinated and died from a severe wound. As analyzed earlier, despite his physical frailty, it is unlikely that poor health alone directly led to his death. Instead, the deformity in Tutankhamun's leg played a critical role. A seemingly ordinary broken leg would have been extremely dangerous if infected. At that time, infection was almost a death sentence since antibiotics were not invented until thousands of years later. Coupled with his weak constitution and compromised immune system, death was inevitable. Legend has it that after his death, Tutankhamun was buried with immense wealth and treasures. Consequently, the tomb of this pharaoh has always been a prime target for grave robbers, but is this really true? What are the speculations surrounding the deadly mysteries or vast treasures beside the king? Within a few months after the burial, the king's tomb was broken into at least twice, and some items were stolen. This raises questions. Why is the king's tomb so different from what people imagined? Why is it relatively small and even unusually simplistic? Although Tutankhamun is now revered as one of the great historical figures, during his lifetime, he may not have been so fortunate. Egyptologists were only able to discover Tutankhamun because his tomb in the Valley of the Kings was overlooked by both ancient and modern grave robbers. This was due to its relatively small size and poor construction and decoration. Why was this the case? The answer to this question remains somewhat unclear. Although many explanations have been proposed, some suggest that Tutankhamun's successor, the Vizier I, erased him from Egyptian history, placing his body in a modest tomb with poor decoration. This is not particularly surprising, as throughout history, it was quite common for successors to overthrow the previous dynasty. Another theory speculates that Tutankhamun died unexpectedly. However, despite the tomb's small size and lack of lavish decoration, it still held immense value due to the gold, silver, and treasures inside. Grave robbers would likely regret being deceived by the tomb's unassuming exterior. Later pharaohs defamed Tutankhamun, slandering him as the son of a heretic. He remained forgotten until British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered the tomb on November 4, 1922. Going back in time to 1891, under the sponsorship of the wealthy Lord Carnarvon, British archaeologist Howard Carter traveled to Egypt to begin the quest for the famous tomb. For the first 5 years, the team searched tirelessly but without success. It wasn't until November 1922 that a member of the group accidentally discovered deep stone steps covered with dirt and rocks. Upon excavation, they uncovered steps leading to a door bearing the name Tutankhamun. This area is part of the Valley of the Kings near Luxor in Upper Egypt. Upon entering, everyone was overwhelmed as the tomb appeared nearly intact after 3,000 years since its construction, contrary to its modest exterior. The interior contained an abundance of gold, silver, jewelry, and various food items like spices, garlic, wine, meat, and even pitted dates. Everything seemed to astonish not only the archaeologists but also drew the world's attention once again to ancient Egyptian culture. In addition to the 4 chambers containing mummies, experts also discovered 4 rooms holding over 600 other precious artifacts. Most notably was the sarcophagus containing King Tutankhamun's coffin. On the sarcophagus, there was an inscription that read, "Death shall come swiftly to those who disturb the peace of the king." Howard Carter later recounted his experience at that moment. "There, before us lay the sealed door, and with its opening, we erased centuries of separation and stood in the presence of a king who ruled 3,000 years ago." With Carter leading the way, 2 men stepped over the threshold into a suffocating, pitch-black atmosphere. "At first, I could see nothing," Carter recalled. "The hot air escaping from the chamber made the candle flicker. But as my eyes adjusted to the light, details of the inner chamber slowly emerged through the haze, strange animals, statues, and gold everywhere, shimmering in golden brilliance. It was truly a monumental discovery for world archaeology. At this point, all attention was focused on the tomb, on the gold, the mummy, the structure of the burial chambers, but no one paid heed to the consequences of disturbing the king. What would happen to those who dared invade this sacred space? Did the curse truly exist, and was it now exerting its power? Continuing the journey of exploration, immediately after discovering the tomb, archaeologist Carter sent word to Lord Carnarvon, the project's primary sponsor. Without delay, Lord Carnarvon set off for Egypt to witness the fruits of decades of relentless searching. Shortly after the tomb was opened, a series of strange deaths began to occur. George Herbert, the Earl of Carnarvon and financier of the excavation, suddenly passed away from malaria just a few months later. The press at the time dubbed this the Pharaoh's curse. But was it real? In total, 22 people participated in the excavation of Tutankhamun's tomb, and within 7 years, all but 2 had died under mysterious circumstances. These 2 survivors were spared from consequences, giving rise to rumors surrounding the curse, punishing those who dared disturb the eternal slumber of this famous pharaoh. The first victim was Lord Carnarvon himself, the financial backer of King Tutankhamun's tomb excavation. After receiving news of the discovery, Lord Carnarvon immediately traveled to Cairo. Not long after entering the tomb, he unexpectedly passed away on May 4, 1923, at the age of 56. The cause of death was blood poisoning resulting from an infected mosquito bite wound. While death by sepsis can be explained, contracting it from a mosquito bite is exceedingly unusual. But what was even stranger was that at the exact moment of his passing, all the lights in Cairo went out. Could this have been a sign of the curse? Was Lord Carnarvon's death merely a coincidence, or was it truly a warning from the afterlife? Keep watching to uncover more strange deaths. The next recorded victim was Jay Gould, an American railroad tycoon. After visiting the tomb in 1923, he succumbed to pneumonia. Another case involved Herbert Aubrey, Lord Carnarvon's half-brother, who also reportedly fell victim to the curse following unsuccessful eye surgery. He died just 5 months after his brother, but the deaths didn't stop there. Arthur C. Mace, another member of the excavation team, suddenly passed away from meningitis just a few years later. Some reports noted that he mentioned experiencing a strange feeling before his death. And Hugh Evelyn White, another archaeologist, committed suicide in his hotel room, leaving behind the note, "I can bear it no longer." This led many to believe that the curse was indeed real. So, what do you think about these deaths? There were others too who met their end for various reasons. For instance, Archibald Douglas Reed, the expert responsible for X-raying the pharaoh's mummy, fell ill shortly after entering the tomb and passed away in January 1924 from a mysterious illness. Even more bizarre was the case of Bruce Ingham. Howard Carter, the man who first opened Tutankhamun's coffin, gifted him a paperweight made from a mummified hand wearing a ring inscribed with the words, "Cursed be he who disturbs my body." Shortly after receiving this peculiar gift, Ingham's house burned down in a fire. While rebuilding, it was swept away by a flood. Are these deaths warnings from the supernatural realm, or merely products of human imagination? Keep watching to learn more. However, strangely enough, the person who initiated the disturbance of the king's sleep did not fall victim to the curse. Howard Carter passed away in 1939 at the age of 64 due to illness, many years after the excavation of the tomb. According to ancient Egyptian legend, anyone who violates a pharaoh's tomb will face severe consequences. On the door of Tutankhamun's tomb, there is an inscription that reads, "Death shall come swiftly to those who disturb the pharaoh's sleep." Is this the origin of the curse? Or is it merely a product of human imagination? People still can't help but wonder whether the mysterious deaths of the archaeological team were due to an ancient Egyptian curse or simply a random coincidence. In an article on Live Science, Egyptologist Jasmine Day stated that the concept of the curse evolved as a legend starting from the mid-19th century and grew increasingly popular thanks to contributions from science fiction literature, horror films, mass media, and the internet. Essentially, she partially refutes the rumors surrounding these curses, not considering them a matter of practical science. However, in another statement, Jasmine Day mentioned that her research found forgotten American fictional stories from 1860, featuring contexts where explorers stripped mummies and stole their jewelry, only to suffer horrific deaths or dire consequences. These tales were written by women as metaphors for forced behavior. Seemingly shocking comparisons that condemn the destruction and theft of Egypt's heritage during its golden age. In reality, we cannot deny the power of the media in amplifying mysteries. Many myths or mystical creatures have become pop culture icons largely due to media exposure, just like how ancient Egyptian civilization has been globally recognized through pyramids and tombs. Whenever people think of pyramids or tombs, they naturally associate them with gold, silver, or deadly traps and curses. This explanation may satisfy most realists and traditional scientists but fails to convince all archaeologists. In 2018, Professor DeWolf Miller, an epidemiology lecturer at the University of Hawaii, published his research on the deadly curses within the tombs of Egyptian kings, and surprisingly, this time his findings garnered significant support from various parties. From Professor Miller's perspective, newly opened thousand-year-old tombs contain not only mummies but also many other items such as plants and animals buried with the deceased. Given the unsanitary environment, the presence of highly toxic bacteria should come as no surprise. From this, we can consider that the abnormal deaths of many involved in the excavation or visitation of King Tutankhamun's tomb might be attributed to infections caused by long-term exposure to mold, fungi, or harmful gases present in the damp conditions of the tomb. Numerous studies show that some ancient mummies still carry mold, including at least two highly toxic types, Aspergillus niger and Aspergillus flavus. These molds can cause allergic reactions such as congestion or lung bleeding and are especially harmful to individuals with weakened immune systems. Under suitable conditions, when these dangers are activated, they can easily become fatal. One detail that few people notice is that archaeologists also discovered live bats in the tombs. Bat droppings can carry fungi that cause respiratory diseases under appropriate conditions, acting like biological bombs ready to explode and endanger human life. Another piece of evidence explaining the curse was provided by Professor of Epidemiology and Preventive Medicine Mark Nelson from Monash University, Australia. His research was based on collecting relevant records from the archaeological team that excavated Tutankhamun's tomb. The results showed that most members of the team were elderly, with an average age of 70. In the early 20th century, this figure was not low at all, so their physical health and immune systems were already poor, significantly increasing their susceptibility to illness. Due to old age and frailty, some may have died from objective factors unrelated to the excavation of Tutankhamun's tomb. Not only the environment, but human psychology also plays an important role. Many people believe they are cursed, leading to stress and deteriorating health. This is called the nocebo effect, the opposite of the placebo effect. So, does the curse truly exist, or is it just a product of imagination? Beyond bacteria and psychology, there are other hypotheses. Some suggest that ancient Egyptian gods sent guardian spirits to punish intruders. Others believe this is evidence of the supernatural power of the pharaohs. So, what is the truth? The supernatural phenomena related to the curse continue to spark debate. Some reports claim that archaeologists saw ghosts in the tomb. Are these products of imagination, or is there something truly mysterious haunting them? Limitations in archaeological techniques could also have been responsible for killing archaeologists. Over a century ago, specialized protective equipment wasn't as advanced as it is today. People rarely wore gas masks when exploring new tombs, which might explain the deaths from strange illnesses. Meanwhile, cases of suicide or death rumored to be linked to the mummy's curse may have just been coincidental. Obtaining results from mainstream scientific research is a positive sign that shows we are still striving to find answers. Personally, I believe there are still unresolved questions regarding the curse of Tutankhamun's tomb. For example, why were only certain individuals affected by these toxins? How was Howard Carter, the first person to enter the tomb, unharmed while someone like Carnarvon, who arrived later, suddenly passed away? The curse of Pharaoh Tutankhamun remains an unsolved mystery. Science, spirituality, and psychology all play important roles in explaining this phenomenon. So, what do you believe? What do you think about the curse of Pharaoh Tutankhamun? Is it real, or merely a product of human imagination? We would love to know your thoughts on the curse of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Do you believe in this curse? Leave your opinion in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share the video to support the channel. MysticlibraryX will continue to explore more fascinating historical mysteries in upcoming videos. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Leave your thoughts in the comments, we'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, stay tuned for more mysteries that MysticlibraryX will uncover. In the next video, we'll explore other famous curses around the world. Don't miss out, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. We'll be back soon with more exciting stories.